bonus episodes for you. In the past, I had completed a COVID Talks bonus series to help everyone battle through a challenging year. As I have been trying to find new ways to give you, the listeners, great new shows, I have decided to bring back some of your favorite podcast guests to catch up with you and share newfound tips for success. I will ask new questions on these episodes to provide new value. Today's guest and I were connected through a mutual friend. Evan became friends right away. He's the Voices Over Cancer author, Juan Nunez. He's back on the show. But before I bring him on, we're going to learn how he podcasts since he has not been on since I asked these podcast questions. Be sure to check out his episode on Writing with Authors or his first episode on Here, a Mental Health Break. Their links are in the show description for after this episode. Juan, which platform do you stream your shows through?
My podcast specifically is Spotify. That's the main thing that I go to, and then any other ones. Sometimes I go on SoundCloud and listen to some of the podcasts there.
Nice.
But this is between those two.
Yes, Spotify, of course, offers that great wrapped up feature at the end of the year. Where do you find yourself listening to your podcast? In the car?
It really depends, man. I mean, I sometimes I'll listen while I'm working. While I'm working out, at night in the bed. It really just depends on, I guess, what my mood is and what I feel like driving to at that particular time. But yeah, it's mostly throughout the day. I mean, I can multitask luckily at work. So I just throw on some podcasts or some tunes even, and then get to work and just listen.
Making the most of your day, Juan. That doesn't surprise me. You're a go-getter. You always have a lot going on, so you're making the most of your time. We'll learn all about Juan's journey in just a bit. Thank you for sharing how you podcast, Juan. And to everyone listening, welcome and thank you for joining us. It is once again time to talk all things mental health, and this is a mental health break. I am your host and author of the books Mental Health Week and Mr. Lanci Talks Mental Health, Vincent A. Lanci. You can learn more about me at Vincent A. Lanci across social media, my YouTube channel, or on my website, vincentalanci.com. If it's your first time sitting down with us, each episode I sit down with a mental health advocate or professional from all over the world to share their why and tips relating to mental health. Of course, my why came after I suffered a traumatic brain injury, and you will learn today's guest's why in just a minute. Before we get started, I want to share that this episode is brought to you by Tampa Counseling and Wellness, dedicated to helping individuals to positively transform their lives through compassionate counseling and wellness coaching. If you struggle with depression, anxiety, or other mental health challenges, give them a call today for a free consultation. Therapy that inspires change. Their info is also in this episode description. Juan is a testicular cancer and stroke survivor who strives to be great each day and live his life to the fullest. I know this from getting to know him. He's hiking. He's always doing a lot, even if he's not working. But as I mentioned, he is an author, and he was on Writing with Authors with a great testimonial to his piece in Voices Over Cancer. He has struggled and still struggles with mental health challenges, but uses food and fitness to better himself mentally. I tried to do the same. If you missed his first episode, you missed a great testimonial because he took my podcast by storm. He introduced himself, and his episode was played quite a bit because of the golden nuggets he left for everyone. He has a true passion to give back through his story, whether it's through books or podcasts. I'm sure he has some new stuff going on, and we're going to learn all about it. Juan Nunez, thanks for coming back.
Thank you for having me, Vincent. I mean, it's always a pleasure again to speak on the experiences that we went through and all the new experiences that we're going through these days.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. You have a lot to offer. Would you mind giving the audience a preview to what you have to offer who didn't get the chance to see you on your first show?
It's all about men's, the main focus is men's mental health, because that's kind of always thrown on the back burner. And we tend to be a little bit more sturdy in our opinions, and we don't really want to open up and things of that nature. So that's kind of where I like to hit is opening up and being able to talk to people and talk about your issues, because it's something that we all struggle with. It doesn't matter who you are, what race, color, gender. It does not matter. Someone's always struggling with something, and you just don't know. Speaking about the struggles that you go through and how you accomplish, getting over those struggles would really help someone else.
Mental health does not discriminate as far as challenges are concerned. It doesn't matter what you look like, what ethnicity, race, color, education level, you name it. There's no discriminating on mental health. We all battle through adversity, but one way to help us improve our mental health and get through this adversity, like Juan said, sharing our life experiences. One life experience we all just shared and are still experiencing is COVID, this pandemic. What is one thing you learned about your mental health during the pandemic, Juan?
It's very challenging, especially right now with the mandate, the federal mandate that went in. I am one of the people that are affected by that mandate. My job just sent out an email saying, hey, either you have to get the vaccine or, if you can file for an exemption, religious or medical. Otherwise, you're going to have to find something else. And that's very challenging when you're, it's so quick. And I mean, December 8th is right around the corner. That has been probably the most challenging of things that I've encountered right now during COVID. And it's just one of those things where I'm just like, it is what it is. I'll do what I need to do as what I'm doing the exemptions. Because I already had COVID. I did have COVID, and it was pretty. It's a pretty crazy experience having COVID, but I think in my opinion, natural immunity obviously is the better of the two. But those that need the vaccine, of course, take it. But that's everybody's own decision, that they need to make. But having it forced down and the pipeline, and it affects your work and your cash flow and the ability to pay your mortgage, put food on the table, that's a whole different story. So, but I'm staying mentally strong and saying, hey, this is just another obstacle. It's another bump in the road. And, there's always something better on the other side.
That's the thing. Adversity can come in many forms, and right here, Juan's dealing with the situation where his job is asking him to do something he doesn't want to do. It is, as Juan just put, another hurdle in the road. Whatever you are going through, be confident in yourself. I've met Juan maybe a year and a half ago or so, I'd say, and I've seen him grow leaps and bounds through a ton of adversity. And that's not just in the professional workplace. Juan, I'm pretty confident things will work out for you. You're a bright guy and you have a good head on your shoulders. You're motivated. What is your favorite thing you can do for your mental health, Juan? What is your favorite thing to do that is good for your mental health?
Fitness, man. You already know that's my first go-to. Even though I've taken a break for like a couple weeks now, I haven't really worked out. It's just been a lot going on, and sometimes you need that break. My body has just been like, all right, you need to rest a little bit, and I, after this meeting, that's where I'll be going, is into the gym. We got a home gym here, and so that's my favorite thing to do. And then obviously after a good workout, a good lunch, something good to eat, to replenish everything. That's probably my most favorite thing is the fitness part, man. It just relieves so much stress, and it's just, it gets the endorphins going, and you're good to go, for the rest of the day.
Couldn't agree with you more. Fitness is my mental health tool. What works for some doesn't work for everyone. For me, fitness is lights out. We were recording this podcast. Now it's 12:10 p.m. I was in the gym at around 3:15 at 3:30 a.m. this morning because I had a huge day. Even after this, there's 2 more meetings to go, and I'm feeling still good. I've cut caffeine almost entirely out, maybe twice. And there's nothing wrong with caffeine, just for me, that rush, that push, I find myself with exercise and taking breaks throughout the day, I'm able to extend myself just as long. just as a little challenging at first in the transition, as many of you listening on, I'm sure, have gone through the same process of caffeine intake, trying to monitoring that as you get older. It's something important. But what advice do you have for anyone out there, Juan, who is going through a tough time?
Stick it through, find someone to talk to. Like I said, there's always going to be bumps in the road, whether you see them or not. And it's just a bump in the road.
Yes.
You're going to go through it. You're going to continue on the path. And again, they're rocky, bumpy. I mean, there's going to be small ones, big ones that you're going to have to deal with. But I think the most important thing is not be so focused on that bump and look ahead of that bump and see the straighter path. That's always been my thing, is like, there's always something better on the other side of something that you feel like it's real painful and it sucks at that given time. But if you look forward, there's always a better life. There's always something that's going to bring you even more happiness, and there's always something that's going to cheer you up. And there's a whole ton of positives, aside from the negative aspects of our life.
Things could always be worse, no matter what you think is bad. Juan, what are some ways you plan on continuing to raise awareness for the importance of mental health in the future?
Continuing on with the podcast, of course, you sent me another one, which I'm going to be getting set up with. We haven't quite nailed down a date yet, but
is that Bailey?
With Bailey, yeah.
Yep.
So that's a 2-hour long one. So I'm pretty.
Oh, she's got a longer show than mine, and she knows. We joke about I don't do much at night because of my commitments in my early day. But for Bailey, I did go on at night. Bailey, shout out to Bailey. She's a great individual. I met her through networking on this podcast, domestic abuse survivor who's transitioned her story into a whole brand as well, where she's got a Never Give Up, I believe it's called, podcast.
Yes, never. Yep.
On LinkedIn Live. She's all over the place. Be sure to find Bailey's episodes out here too. She's got some good stuff to offer as far as mental health tools, especially as a single mom as well. Juan, as you know, with my new guests, it would normally be time for a spotlight story where we look at the mental health of someone famous to let you, the listeners, know you are not alone. On Welcome Back episodes, I would like to give my guests the opportunity to shout out someone else who is doing their part to break down mental health stigma. Juan, who are we showing some love to today?
Man, that's a difficult one, but we're showing some love to Vincent. You yourself, you man, you inspire me every day, dude. You're doing tons of great things for people, man, and keep going, continue to do you. Of course, that may be like, oh, he's shouting out the same guy that he's doing the podcast with, but for real, I mean, you're doing great things, leaps and bounds, man, from what you went through. I wish I was in your position, and maybe someday I will be, where I'm doing the same thing and writing the books and, and all that, and doing more podcasts and maybe even do my own show. But yeah, dude, definitely look up to you, and I appreciate the opportunity for you having me on. And yeah, Vincent A. Lanci.
Hey, Juan, I appreciate the awesome words. I think you're an incredible person who I'm very grateful I had the chance to link up with. Again, another shout out to Evan for connecting us. Evan's a friend I've known for a long time in Tampa. When I went to go to the Jets game in Denver recently, I had a chance to catch up with him for the first time in a while in person. How can we find Juan? Website, social media, what are you up to? Let's find you.
Yeah, social media, it's at Fleetwood Mac, MAK00 on Facebook, and then at Fleetwood Mac 01 on Twitch. That's my streaming stuff.
Are you still doing more streaming? Let's touch on that as the show's about.
Yeah, the streaming. I mean, it's been slow lately because I haven't had much time. It's just work's been kind of crazy. But yeah, I am still doing the streaming. It's that I don't have a really set schedule, so it's kind of random. And I just go back through. I just recently got a Super Nintendo, so I'm gonna be hooking that up and streaming some of that, and and that should be good. I usually get a lot of followers when I get on the old school stuff.
I love it. Well, be sure to check out Juan if you do stream. Make sure to stream and say hello. I don't know if I'm using the right words there.
Yeah, and are you good? You good?
Be sure to say what's up to Juan. He's always got a lot to offer, and he's a great guy to connect with. And while you're checking out Juan's content, be sure to check us out too at A Mental Health Break on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. But on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, but on Twitter, we are at Podcast by Lanci because of that character limit. I'm at Vincent A. Lanci on all social media, YouTube, and my website is vincentalanci.com. Mr. Lanci Talks Mental Health Week. Those are my 2 mental health books. They're on Amazon, so you can prime it today. Thank you for listening. And Juan, thank you for joining us on another episode of A Mental Health Break.
Thank you, Vincent. I greatly appreciate it.